K4 Wins. Oh man, do we have some great stuff? I'm going to open the show with a couple of unbelievable, useless Tony Curry stats. Yeah, he's got, and these are really not useless. In case I love to throw these at you first. The NFC 30-29 in Super Bowl so far. So this is, and that just tells you over the course of a period of time, things seem to average out. Over unders 29-29 overall. There was not an over under in Super Bowl one. Favorites are 37-20 straight up, 29-24-2 against the spread. And here's the one I think is really interesting. The point spread rarely comes into play with any Super Bowl, meaning a winning bet often comes down to just picking the winner of the game. There have only been 7 instances in Super Bowl history where the team that won straight up failed to cover the spread. So pretty much if you pick whoever you're picking, if you're taking the favorite, really, really good shot that that team is going to not only win the game, but they're also going to cover the spread. So good morning to you, K4Wins. Go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. We got a ton of this stuff. By the way, 76, 89, 96, 2004, 2005, 2009, and Super Bowl 56 were the other times that those teams not only were picked to win, but did not cover the spread. It's only happened 7 times. Kip Keefer right below me, Executive Director of the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. To my right, to your left, you're looking stage right, it's Case Keefer. He is, of course, the chief editor of the Las Vegas Sun, and below him, Kai Gregory, who's been doing this gambling now for 3 or 4 demographics. He's been all over it, and we're into it, and we're looking forward to Super Bowl 60. Let's start with the man who's right there, ground zero in Las Vegas, 4.5 and 45.5. Looks like the number's sticking tight. In the history, and I don't know how long you've been out in Las Vegas. How long have you been out there?
I moved here in 2009, but after the Super Bowl. So 2010 Saints Colts was my
Good.
first Super
6
Bowl that I lived in here.
you got a good sample size. Um, what do you normally look for when you're thinking about movements? I know you like to look at the big money. I know you've got a good idea of who the best guys are. You also know who the fluffs are on these idiots that say they're good that they're not. But typically speaking, where is it 3 or 4 days before the Super Bowl? Is it an hour before the Super Bowl? When do you expect to start seeing some movement here?
Super Bowls just are so much different than any other games. Other games movements. I think that you always want to see, of course, what the initial money is, and then you just really want to know when limits are going up. So there will be a bump midweek, like Wednesday, where you'll start to see people that are betting bigger, their influence come into the market, and then I think it might have been a little earlier this year, but usually Friday. Like probably after injury reports come out for the NFL. I'm thinking too much college football. Usually college football, it's Friday at noon, but it's probably a little bit later for NFLs. It's after injury reports come out. That's when the limits get bumped to, real sports books, not marketing companies that are just trying to get people to play parlays. That's when they'll start taking, 50 or 100 grand a pop. Super Bowls are just different because there's so much interest and so much money that you can get down a ton of money almost immediately. So, I'm really kind of interested in the initial movement, and then it's interesting, I guess, if it moves strongly one way or the other. But then you kind of have to figure it out. Like, does this actually matter? I mean, just to give you an example, how much money is? I think that like Circa alone has already reported they've taken two 7-figure bets. I think they took like a $2 million bet on the, or maybe it was to win 2 million on the Patriots money line. They took another gigantic bet. They took another $1 million bet, I think, on the Patriots on the point spread. And it was just as interesting that they took those two and they didn't really move the line at all. They moved it. I think they moved the money line. I don't remember, like 6 cents. They might have
Wow.
moved the juice just a little bit on the spread. So that kind of tells you something. This is getting a lot of publicity. It tells you that whoever they bet it is just a whale, probably a billionaire that likes to gamble. It's not someone whose action they really respect, because if there's a guy who is doing his living, making his living doing this, a really great bettor, and he wants $2 million on the Patriots, I can promise you they're moving that a little bit more. So again, these are problems you don't encounter during a random regular season game between the Patriots and the Jets. It's just Super Bowls are so much different. But I don't know. Hopefully that example gave you a little bit of the lens that I look at it through.
Largest bet a close confidant or a friend of yours has made, and then if you would kind of share what's some of the biggest bets you've made in Super Bowl history, if you wouldn't mind.
Ooh, a close person. I mean, the most people I talk to about the Super Bowl, I don't want to make it sound like I have some huge network or something. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's some discussions I get and stuff, but I know the people that I respect the most that I know a little bit that do this at a really high level for the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just all about the props, and you can't really get $1 million down on props, but they'll be going to the window and betting props for them. Like when props open, usually the max is like 2 or 3 thousand, and if there's one they'll really like, they'll bet it for 2,000. Then the sports books, the sports books again that know what they're doing and actually book action. They decide if they want to move, then you can pop it again for 2,000, pop it again for 2,000, whatever. So they might have like 10 grand or something on a prop, but then you put it together and they have hundreds of these. So it's just a whole lot accumulated. So I would say the really serious bettors that I know, not always this way because it's hard to get down on props during a regular season game to that level, but they just kind of look at the side and total market is extremely efficient. I think some of the stats you read out kind of bear that out. I mean, by the time kickoff is, a lot of the times the side and the totals are kind of coin flips, and where you can really make money is if you're digging around and really looking for opportunities on the props.
Speaking of props, the man right below you just told me a crazy stat where there's about 40 or something props right now, but how many are coming out?
Well, the one that I look at online has released about 44 props, but they're like, how long is the national anthem going to be? What color is the Gatorade bath going to be? And then you've got first touchdown scoring and all that kind of stuff. So far, there's actually some really good ones I like. But I think last year, and Case probably would know this better than me, but I know there's over 200 props you can bet on, and I think last year they had 264 props you could bet on in the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know that Vegas does all of those. A lot of those things are online. It's very interesting because I was thinking about this. I got some Tony Curry facts for you also. But I was looking at this earlier. Whatever happened to ESPN Bets, that show? Did they just, did everybody decide, hey, you can't do this because everybody's throwing point shaving in basketball now and it's ESPN's fault now? I just wonder. You used to see that show 3, 4, 5 days a week, and we know they stunk, but it was interesting to see just to get that take. And then before throwing it to Kip, Kip, it's funny. I bet that $1 million guy is not our buddy that we see the rants on it, throwing $1,000 million.
Yeah.
Well, he's just waiting for those market fades so he can get rich. Yeah.
Oh, he's waiting till the end of the game so he can pick which side he wants to bet on. Is what he's doing.
Here you go, Tony. The teams wearing white are 37-22 in the Super Bowl. 16-5 the last 21 games.
So that would be away teams. All right.
The Pats are 5-0 this year, including the playoffs, wearing white.
Yeah.
And they are 3-1 in the Super Bowl wearing white.
That's something else. I'm gonna throw something at you, Kip, that is just unbelievable. And I saw this. It's crazy. The New England Patriots have played in 20% of every Super Bowl in history.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. This is their 12th Super Bowl. It's their 60th Super Bowl overall. They've played in 20% of all Super Bowls all time since 1966. I mean,
but Belichick's not Hall of Fame.
But he's not Hall of Fame. And if you watch our show, the starting lineup, tomorrow morning from 10:30, 11 o'clock, you're going to get some Kip perspective, a brand new little part here. And he goes off on Bill Belichick. It is killer. It is right on. So I don't want to waste it. I don't want to let it go. We won't get into it, but make sure you watch tomorrow, Kip perspective on the starting lineup. And speaking of the dog, 5-0 are underdogs the last 5 Super Bowls. 4-1 straight up. Are we going to have another in Super Bowl 60?
I don't expect it. I think Seattle's a better team, and I said yesterday when we talked about this that I think the Patriots are an incredible story. The rebuild has been amazing. Talked about them in the preseason how they should be much improved, but I don't think anybody saw this coming. And I like the fact that I've actually got some support on my, it doesn't matter how you play, it's who you play. The Patriots, Tony, you've been throwing around the stat that historically this is one of the weakest schedules in NFL history this year. And Case jumped on that theme early in the year. So I'm not the lone wolf standing on the prairie howling that this time. They did have a very advantageous schedule, and they've taken full advantage of it. What the job that Vrabel's done is just remarkable there, completely re-energizing this team. I think they're young and they're impressive, but I just don't see a team with as much, just overall skill players and big playmakers as the Seahawks. I just think they're a better team. McDonald has done a great job with that team as well. Both these coaches just need to get tremendous props for what they've accomplished this year. The Seahawks had a 10-7 season last year. It wasn't like they struggled. The Patriots only won 4 games last year.
Yeah.
This is an amazing matchup. I don't think this is the high profile name brand game that a lot of people are going to be having some stumbling around a little bit in disorientation. Where are the Chiefs? Where's Buffalo? What the Eagles? Delusional people still think the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl. They haven't been since like the 90s. So the Patriots and Seahawks, not a very sexy matchup, but I just think at the end of the day, Seattle's got too much for this Patriot team, who's maybe just a step or two ready from the ultimate prime time.
And I think we maybe saw the beginning of the end for Kansas City back in Super Bowl 59. That was one of the worst Super Bowls that I think a lot of people have seen as Philadelphia takes home the hardware. Mike Vrabel could become the first person in football history to win Super Bowls for 2 different teams as a player and also one as a head coach, which is pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. He's done a wonderful job, so we'll see what happens. Speaking of Sam Darnold, what's the injury report? I heard that Sam didn't practice much yesterday, of course, and we're still talking a good week out before Super Bowl 60 coming up, still nursing that oblique strain, I guess. And a lot of people said on the team, they were freaking out about it, but he hasn't flinched, Case. What are you hearing about his oblique, and is he okay?
Yeah, I think that both teams just had a walkthrough this week, so it was kind of a simulated injury report. And yeah, I think Darnold, it was just the same thing, the oblique, which I had a little bit of a concern with. I mean, going into both games, honestly, but it doesn't seem to matter at all. The 49ers game just got so out of hand so fast that I didn't even think he had to be tested. But I thought it might be a factor against the Rams, and it clearly wasn't. I mean, that was one of the best games of his career. So I don't know. At this point, it's going to be a month since he suffered it by game day. It doesn't really concern me at all. I will say, though, I think what should be popping a few more eyeballs is the quarterback on the other side, because Drake May was also listed as limited. With the shoulder injury, there's been some rumblings that he might have banged it up in the last game. I mean, that's going to be a fresher injury. I know Vrabel gave some strange answer when they asked him about, well, not really strange. He just, I don't know. He's kind of dismissive like that. He said, oh, we'll give you an update when we have to. So I don't know. If there's a quarterback, I think both of them will be fine. They'll both gut through it and play. But if you're telling me that one quarterback's going to be limited by an injury, I'd be a little bit more worried about Drake May than Sam Darnold at this point.
Sam Darnold in the postseason, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, 69.8% of his completions. And Drake May, 4-2, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, has only completed 55.8% of his passes in the postseason so far. And of course, they're playing for Super Bowl 60. It was a really interesting, I got to bring this up because I'm getting old. But Kai has been doing this for a long time. He's been playing both sides for a long period of time. And we've actually gone to Philadelphia together. We've done some things together. And you always had this thing about the number 4 that I wanted to bring up that was kind of like you shouldn't say anything about the number. And I'm like, why? We brought it up on a previous radio show you and I did like 20 years ago. But something about the number 4. Now, it's a 4.5 right now. But what was the stat you said as a book or as a person who's played both sides? What's that number 4? And how do you want to play it?
Well, that's a number that I heard a long time ago, probably when I was getting out of high school and starting to bet and doing all those. In the NFL, you don't play a game that's sitting on 4. And you're never supposed to lay 4 with a favorite. And if you go back and you look, and I haven't looked at this in the last 5 or 10 years, as in depth as I had before, but if I see a 4-point game, I just stay away from it, always have because of that. Because in the old days, every time I took a 4-point favorite, they lost. Every time. Not just didn't cover, lost the game straight up. And that is an NFL stat. It is not for everything else. It's just an NFL stat.
That's really interesting. Sam Darnold is only the 3rd player in NFL history to have played for 5 different teams before he played for the Super Bowl. Can you name the other 2 quarterbacks? And by the way, the other 2 quarterbacks, all of them have lost that Super Bowl game. Can you name the other 2 quarterbacks that have played for at least 5 teams before they played in their first Super Bowl? One was someone.
I thought you were going to say all 5 of his teams. I could name
no. Yeah, feel free to do that too. I will give
Jets,
you one.
Panthers, 49ers, Vikings, Seahawks.
There you have it. Earl Morale from the Colts back in Super Bowl III. I'm not even going to make you ask for that one, but Chris Chandler.
Earl Morrill, he was like 55 when he started that game.
He was. And Chris Chandler, remember the old Chan man? Super Bowl 33 with the Falcons. He was his sixth, I believe, team that he played for. Of course, they lost that game as well. So some interesting stats going on there too. All right. So everyone's wanting to know, and I mean, we're going to break this down over and over and over again. I think what everyone's looking for is that one piece of nugget. I think everyone's got. Does everyone in the house have a good feeling for who they're going to go for right now? Does everyone feel comfortable about who they're going to like? If you had to make a bet right now, you're good, or are you still trying to decide? Guys, no. I would figure that from you. Kip, do you kind of know who you're going to go with?
I would take Seattle right now, unless it goes up another point, which I think if it gets close to 6, that might be a little over the top, because I can see this game coming down to it's a field goal difference at the end and somebody scores and covers, but I can't take the Patriots at this point.
Okay, so if it stays 4.5, you're good with the Hawks right now. So
yes.
Case, do you have a good idea where you're going?
Yeah, I mean, I already bet side in total on the Sunday after the conference championship games. So.
There you go. Is there a particular number or stat that you look at that's a little nugget of love that Case has looked at in his illustrious gambling career that a lot of people don't know about that seems to kind of force you or push you into one way or another when it comes to gambling and betting on the Super Bowl winner? Is it rushing stats? Is it a passing stat? Is it something that maybe you're even kind of hooked on that really has nothing to do with the game itself? But it's just like, wow, every time this happens, this team seems to win.
No, not really. I mean, there's no magic elixir. I mean, there's just a lot of things I look at. I definitely know like rushing or single game stats. There's so much noise and all that stuff, and you kind of have to, I mean, all these games are completely different. One reason I guess I'll just give away I like the under on this game is like both these teams play at a really slow pace. They both are in the top 10 in the league and rush play percentage. Now a lot of that's the Seahawks. They've both been playing from ahead a lot, but so a lot of times when you look at these total stats, like a team that's running to the ball and snapping the ball within 10 seconds every time and is running 85 plays a game, yeah, their total stats are going to look a lot better than a team that's running 60 plays a game and playing a little shorter. So I mean, it's no secret here that I like the all-encompassing, the more advanced metric team stats like EP, expected points added, DVOA is really what I kind of came up on, which used to be Football Outsiders, now just Aaron shots. But I still don't think any of that's like a magic. Whoever this points towards is going to win. That's just something I like to factor all into. So I know there's always. I mean, this is an old gripe. I probably was still making this gripe 15 years ago, but there's always people say, oh, well, the team that rushes for more yards wins 90% of the time. Yeah, no shit, because if you're winning the game, you're trying to run the clock out at the end of the game and handing the ball off. There's some stuff like that I just hate. I don't know how it persists after all these years. But I don't know. I digress. Hopefully, I answered your question.
I will say this: when I was doing the opening drive with Al DeGreco and Jay Barkin, of course, Al played for a Super Bowl there with the Tennessee Titans. Came up 1.5 yards short of tying that game, perhaps winning it with a kick. We had a goat named Tinkerbell that used to come up from Old Baker Farm. He would come up and eat out of the bowl. Everyone's got an animal. And that goat hit 9 straight Super Bowls. We were just doing straight up. So, I mean, it wasn't against the spread, but 9 straight Super Bowls overall, 12-2 in the 14 years we had that damn goat. And that goat left lots of gifts. And I loved it because Jim Dunaway used to get so fucking pissed off. He would come in and it would smell like shit in there. There'd be so much goat shit all over the studio. And we would just leave. Hey, see y'all later. Take care. It looked like someone took a box of Cocoa Puffs and just swayed it all over the room.
Tinkerbell is not invited to the starting lineup, by the way.
Tinkerbell was done. It's some good meat, too. Hey, on the show tomorrow, we're going to talk about some of our favorite Super Bowl memories. I want to go around the horn real quick and do it again. Kip, I want to start with you.
Yep, mine's easy. 1983. I was a very young buck, but I was raised and brainwashed to be a Washington Redskins fanatic. I knew every word to the fight song when I was 4 years old. My dad had season tickets. His grandmother gave him for Christmas for about 20 years. Just a huge Redskin fan. They'd have a huge party at our house before every year. It's going to be the year. Time for the Redskins to rise up. And every year they'd lose, 8 or 9 games and be terrible. When they finally broke through the 1983 Super Bowl against the Miami Dolphins and young, brash Dan Marino, one of my favorite plays that's burned in my memory forever. 4th and 1 for the Redskins on the 43 and a 3-point game late. John Riggins not only makes the first down, he's good. Go all the way. 43 yards, touchdown. Redskins clinch it 27-17 over the Dolphins. It was like a surreal dream. The Washington Redskins, for God's sakes, are the Super Bowl champions. We'll never forget it.
Kai, give me a good Super Bowl memory, man.
The Peyton Manning winning his 2 and Eli beating Tom twice.
All right. Case, you got a good Super Bowl memory, and I would assume some of your memories maybe come down to some great beats or some crazy wins that you've had, but was there any particular game that you really liked?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of eras. I mean, for the betting era, it's hard to top last year's. I made probably double as much money as I've ever made on any Super Bowl. Just everything went my way. Other than I did have a last touchdown score, Juju Smith-Schuster, and it looked like it was going to happen until I think then Mahomes hit another bomb to Xavier Worthy. But just like every index bet, I think we had the show last year. I think probably everything I gave out on this show hit. So last year was very fun. I'm trying to think other ones from betting wise. I guess maybe the 3 years ago I was at the Chiefs Eagles one. That was pretty nice because those are the two. I think that was my Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the year. I had futures on both. That was nice to just sit back and cash when I have futures on neither of these teams this year, which really hurts. I can't remember the last time that was the case. I don't know. As a kid, the first several I remember were during that NFC run where they just killed the AFC team every year. So there were no super memorable like the first 5 Super Bowls I remember. I think the first one I remember is the Cowboys Bills the first year before they played the first 2. And I just seemed like the NFC killed every year. The first year I remember actually being into the game was probably when the Broncos came back to beat the Packers. It was actually a good game for once. So last year from a betting purpose, and from being growing up, I remember that Broncos Packers one, and then I also was a Buccaneers fan. I don't really have much fandom anymore, just more betting and covering the league. But I really loved the 2002 Buccaneers team that beat the Raiders, especially their defense with Derek Brooks and all those guys. So that one I remember fondly as well.
Speaking of those monster spreads, largest spread in Super Bowl history. Do you remember it?
It's got to be the Chargers 49ers year, right? They were like 17.5 or something.
It went off at 18.5 at the end of the game.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember watching that game, and it was as bad as you thought it was going to be. It was not even close. I mean, they were picking apart. I'd have to go back. I mentioned this yesterday. My Bengals don't make it very often. They got a chance to go there 3 or 4 years ago with Joe Burrow against Stafford. Of course, he took them down. Whenever the Bengals play in a Super Bowl, it's always really good. The first 2 times they played the Niners came down to the last couple of plays, of course, including the catch. But I remember it was in college. It was 1989, Super Bowl 23, and that was the one where Stanley Wilson infamously missed the Super Bowl. He had a couple of rushing touchdowns. He was a mudder, and Kip knows exactly what I'm talking about. He was great in the mud, had long spikes, man, he could run. Joe Robbie, it rained like hell all day long, so everyone kept talking about the Bengals having an advantage of the running position. He went off as the 3rd-string running back to start the year, but he ended up being the starter in the playoffs. And Sam Weish still says this day that if he hadn't screwed up, the Bengals would have won that Super Bowl. But he is having practice early in the morning of the Super Bowl. On the morning of the Super Bowl, they're going through a walkthrough practice. Says he forgets his playbook, goes back to his room, and never left again. Coked out of his mind on the floor of his bathroom. One of his assistant coaches came in and it's like, dude, just closed the door and said, we'll see you later. And that was the last time that he ever touched a football or actually saw a football. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that should tell you how dangerous that stuff is, to miss the biggest, best day of your life and know that you're probably going to get 25 or 26 touches. And you could be a big difference in winning that Super Bowl, perhaps the first one for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think I'll ever see one in my lifetime, I hope. Let me ask you this. Will I see a Super Bowl for the Las Vegas Raiders or the Bengals first?
I mean, wow. I think the Bengals have to be a favorite just because they have a certainty at at quarterback, who, if he stays healthy, I mean, you expect them to be in the mix for almost the next 10 years. So I would make the Bengals the favorite, but I mean, it's every team should jump up there at some point, but I'd make the Bengals a favorite over the Raiders.
And you can look at the Patriots if you just make a few of the right moves, and of course the Raiders never do the right thing to start with. So the Patriots process isn't overnight, but you can come back from a really subpar season and be a major player. So it's not impossible. But
the Rams did it, right? Didn't the Rams 4-12 and 12-4, right? And they won the Super Bowl. I think they went from worst to first too. The Rams did when they were in St. Louis.
Oh, back in the early 2000s. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant this last Rams team.
No, hell no, not this. No,
I got a question to see if anybody can get.
Okay.
And it is not a discrepancy. It is the most popular Super Bowl food in America. Top search dish in at least 31 states. Non-negotiable game day staple. What is the number one kept Super Bowl food?
90% chance I don't like whatever it is because I'm pretty picky, so I'm not the best person to ask this question, but I don't know. I would number one Super Bowl food. I would say maybe, I don't know, chicken tenders.
Tony?
I'm going to go, and I think I know this answer because my ex used to love this stuff, and I'd always get ones that were too hard. She's like, you got to make them a little softer. Guacamole. I'm going to go with guacamole.
I was going to say chip, kind of in the same vein. I was going to say chips and dip, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that's specific enough. So I'll say chips and salsa. I don't know.
Okay. Believe it or not, number one, buffalo chicken dip.
Oh, well, that's, we've had that some recently.
Number
Case's brother makes that.
Number two, but they expect 1.47 billion wings to be next Sunday.
Yeah, I thought wings would be right up there.
Choice.
Number three is tortilla chips and dip. Number four, pizza. And then other popular choices, depending on where you are, baked potatoes.
Oh, jeez.
I don't understand that.
You remember we went through a tater skin thing here. Remember when tater skins were really big in the bar scene back in the day? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You spent a lot of time at Applebee's, I guess.
No, tater skin. I mean, usually we get. I hate tater skins because they're always dry. I never liked tater skins, but everyone ate tater skins. Man, it was like half potatoes. Everyone used to. I guess they're easy to eat with your fingers or something. I don't know. But they never took off.
I just felt like that was useless, so I wanted to bring it. But one thing that I would love for us to do, and we hadn't talked about it, but it's homework for next Friday's show, is everybody bring, and Case is going to hate this, bring their top 10 prop plays.
Good luck. I'll give you 5.
Give me the top 5 long shot props.
I'll give you 5 IDG, and I wonder why we're going this route. I'll give you. Is Kai looking to make some money this Super Bowl season? Maybe you'll have 30 different prop bets that you play. Yeah, okay. I'll give you 5 good ones. And again, we could bet on which bird's going to fly off the wire first. But as far as heads or tails and all that other garbage, or how long
that doesn't really count as a prop. But I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there's only 2 players in the Super Bowl that I saw today that are minus for anytime touchdowns. Everybody else is plus. 2 players, Walker and Smith and Jigba. Those are the only 2 players that are minus. Walker's minus 205, and then Jigba is minus 115. Everybody else is plus money.
There you go.
Wow.
NBA deadline's coming up here in 6 days. Antetokounmpo doesn't look like he's going to be with the Bucks. We'll talk some NBA coming up here in a few minutes. Also some college hoops. My son went to that Georgia-Tennessee game the other night. He didn't have any power at the house over in Clemson, so he went and rode, and he said that was some of the best SEC basketball games he's ever seen. We'll talk about some SEC as well as some hoops coming up here, and we'll finish up with the Super Bowl. We do have another show coming up on Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central, the whole crew together on Friday before Super Bowl 60 coming up. Let's go around the horn real quick. Just give me a couple of reasons why you like who you like. Is it the running game? Is it the quarterback? Is it the coaching? What's the big things that are making you sway one direction or the other for Super Bowl 60? Because it could change. We still got some time. But Case, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'd say I don't feel super strongly about this game. It's hard to feel super strongly about any Super Bowl, though. I think a few in the last few years I have. I know I loved Philadelphia last year, and I'm not just saying that in hindsight. You can go watch our show.
No, we know you did, yeah.
this year, though, supposedly some places opened Seattle -3.5. I missed that on Sunday, but I did bet Seattle -4 right away. I mean, 4.5 doesn't really make much of a difference, so that would still be my side at 4.5. I just think because they haven't had as much star power, because they kind of came out of nowhere, I think, and we've talked about this on the show throughout the year. Another thing we've mentioned, they've been just amazing. They've been really, really, really good. I think in a column I wrote, I used the word historically good, which might be stretching it a little bit, but I think like one of those numbers I mentioned earlier, DVOA, I think had them rated as like the 7th best team ever since 1978, as far back as reliable play-by-play data goes. And I just feel like that's kind of flown under the radar because they're the Seahawks. They don't really have these superstars or brash personalities, and the Patriots have been good too. They've had a quarterback who I think is going to be among the best in the league for years and years to come. And then the defense has gotten so much better down the stretch of the season. So especially if you weight recency more, I can see why you'd wind up on the Patriots. But I just kind of think these teams are in different classes. So I didn't have a problem laying the 4, and that would still be my pick at 4.5. I only made the number a little bit more. Like if this is just a regular season game in the middle of the year, I probably wouldn't even be betting Seattle -4.5. But it's the Super Bowl, so yeah, I know everyone's going to want action, and I am on Seattle. And as I already mentioned, I like the under too. I just think both these teams. I mean, they're kind of chameleonic in the way they can play different ways if a team forces them to, but I don't think either of them are really going to be pushing it, especially early. I think this might be a little more cagey, so I like the under as well.
Just by the way, the last 3 Super Bowls have gone over the posted total. And of course, we mentioned the underdogs 5-0 and 4-1 straight up. Kip, who do you like and why?
I can't see this one going over unless there's a lot of turnovers, and I don't really think either of these teams. I mean, I know Darnold has had. Everybody keeps spewing the stat around. He had 9 picks down the stretch, and it's only 9 touchdowns. I don't see either one of these offense being real high risk. So unless it's the nerves of the game, so I'd be inclined. And what is the total right now?
45.5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be less than that. I don't see a game, really getting into a scoring frenzy. That would probably be the best lean that I would have on the front end, because I'm expecting about a 20-13, 20-14 kind of game. I don't really see a lot of points here. I think Case mentioned it. We know Seattle's defense is shut down, and the Patriots have just gotten better and better as the year's gone on. And Mike Vrabel, a defensive guy, I'm sure that's been a work in progress. So that's my first inclination. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of points here. And I think the best player on the field, which in Super Bowls is something I look for. I mean, Smith-Njigba is just an unbelievable talent. He can do it all. He can run the short, tough possession routes. He can beat you down the field. I don't know what his odds are for MVP, but that's another lean that I'd have. I'm just so impressed with this guy at the pro level. I mean, he was good at Ohio State, but man, he is just a monster now.
Yeah, watch out. Kip and I are in lockstep in all this game. That's one bet I've already made. I got Smith-Njigba MVP 6-1. This reminds me a lot of when the Rams won the Super Bowl. I know we keep talking about that a few years ago, where Cooper Kupp was clearly the best receiver in the league that year. He won Offensive Player in the Year. I honestly think Puka should probably win it this year, but he's not going to. It's going to be Smith-Njigba. I just feel like if he has a big game, they're going to be more inclined to give him the MVP than Darnold. Because got to remember, this is the media voting on this. What do we hear all the media, national media guys already saying? I can't believe Sam Darnold's this good. I can't believe Darnold's in the Super Bowl. I mean, if Smith-Njigba has like 100 yards and a touchdown, I think 6-1's way too high for his MVP odds. I totally agree.
And guys, isn't the idea in the NFL as a quarterback to win games? I mean, Darnell gets more grief than anybody I've ever seen. He's won 28 games in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Kai, who do you like and why?
I would go New England and under. Just Super Bowl that I think the defense and the running game is going to dominate more than the passing game. So I would feel more comfortable with the under than with New England, but at 4.5, I would go New England. I really like Travion Henderson plus 750 and Kenneth Walker plus 600 on your MVP for that, simply because I think the running game may get some and kind of go from there. But I also might throw a little bit on AJ Banner plus 900 is a long shot just for fun.
With a
Or
little,
Cooper Kupp.
with a little wink there. I like that. You mentioned New England. If New England does win the Super Bowl, it'll be their 7th, which means they'll break the tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers for most all time. Also, if they lose, they'll also tie the record for the most Super Bowl losses. They'll be 6-6 in Super Bowls. And interesting enough, too, if they win this ball game, they will post their 41st postseason win, which would be a record. Right now, that record is 40. So the New England Patriots got a lot to play for if, in fact, they end up winning this game. I am lousy at picking Super Bowls. I am the worst. I mean, I'm just telling you. I mean, I went with my goat, the goat that came up to the studio 9 years in a row, just because
You didn't go with your gut. You went with your goat.
I'm not shitting, man. I am just wickedly bad, and I like Seattle in this game, really just because I think you are who you are. We saw this in college football and who you play, and New England, their schedule was the third easiest schedule since 1978. 438 was a winning percentage week in and week out. We always talk about why the SEC is so good in basketball and football is because they play SEC play every single week. I mean, that beats the shit out.
You're taking Seattle?
So no, I'm not. Well, I got a bet with Legend because I let him have it. I'm down 50 to him, and so he's taking Seattle minus the 4. I wouldn't be playing if it was 3 or 3.5. I'd probably leave it alone. I think 4.5 maybe just a little. I'm hoping like 20-16 game. I'm hoping Seattle wins 20-16, something like that, 20-17. I am a little concerned about the oblique thing. I think adrenaline will only last you so long. I'm also a little concerned about Drake May and it being only his second year. You've got Vrabel, who's been there, done that for a long time. So I think his temperament's going to be good. He's going to have like a father figure telling him what to do, which I think is really going to benefit him. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be, certainly it's not going to be a high flying game. I agree with you. I like the under 45.5 or 46, wherever you like it. The fact that, trends are fun, and we like to bring them up. The fact the underdogs are 5-0 and 4-1 straight up is pretty amazing, particularly since it is the biggest game of the year. So there's something to look at. But yeah, I'm going to be rooting for New England just because I've got a little side bet with the Legend. But if I had to pick, I always try to figure out. I always say which team's got the better shot of winning a blowout. And I think Seattle's got the better shot at winning a blowout. I always do that with any team. Auburn, Alabama, who's got the better shot at winning a blowout? And I always usually end up going with that team if I can't figure out which direction I want to go. And I don't see New England winning in a blowout, period. I don't see that happening at all. But I could see Seattle winning 34-7. I could. I mean, I just think once they get going, I agree with you guys. I think the pieces are
I was just going to load up on New England if you were on Seattle, is all. And if you're on New England, I'll load up on Seattle.
We were about to have a Clemson type argument if you said New England had a better chance to win a blowout. I completly agree.
No,
I do not see New England winning a blowout.
No, if I just had if I just was playing fun, I'd probably place B again. I'm just, and the other thing is I think is really interesting, and you know, Kip, you brought this up probably because I brought it up. Sam Darnold's numbers. He is 4 touchdowns, 0 picks in the playoffs. But yeah, 9 touchdowns, 9 picks, second half of the season. He had like 16 touchdowns and 3 picks in his first half of the season. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's the competition he's playing or maybe his matchups. But he has played worse in the second half of the season, although his postseason has been really good. And again, he's a little banged up, so we'll see what happens. But now you're telling me Drake May's kind of banged up too, so it's gonna be a good Super Bowl. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Seattle has had 28 turnovers this year. Only the Minnesota Vikings had more. And Sam Darnold was responsible for 20 of those. So I'm expecting, I don't know what the prop bet is on Sam Darnold throwing a pick, but if I was going to go right off the bat, I will tell you right now, that's going to be one of my prop bets. Sam Darnold throws a pick sometime in Super Bowl 60. That'll be one of my prop bets that I'll be bringing to the table next Friday. So it should be fun.
One more point.
Yeah, go for it.
For public service purposes, Case Kiefer has had an uncanny knack throughout his betting career of picking the person who's going to score the first touchdown. He's really good at hockey of picking the most obscure player on the ice. They score, and he texts you and says, "Oh, I had that guy at 60-1 for the first goal of the game." So I'm intrigued to find out who he's leaning toward in this Super Bowl to get the first touchdown.
I've bet a couple already. I might add one more, just a lower scoring guy. There's one guy, as you probably know, because I said under and I said the Seahawks, I'm going to be pretty much anti a lot of Patriots. I mean, I'm going to probably be on a lot of Patriots unders against us. There's one guy I love the matchup for. There's one position the Seahawks have been below average defending all year, only slightly below average, but they've been a little below average against tight ends. Hunter Henry has been the vocal point of the Patriots red zone attack all year. I think he has, I looked it up yesterday, maybe like 21 targets in the red zone. The next closest receiver has like 12. So he has, or maybe it was 23 and I don't know. He had 11 more targets than anyone else in the red zone. Even Stevenson only had like 35 carries. So he's like kind of close to even the running back. So I bet Hunter Henry 15-1 first touchdown. He's also been a kind of a quiet postseason, so I think his props are a little bit deflated. It's kind of a buy low here. I bet Hunter Henry 15-1, and just as a long shot dart on the other side, just because Seattle, when all these guys have been healthy, have rotated their tight ends a lot. Elijah Arroyo, their second round rookie from Miami, he's been hurt since I think December, but he was healthy for the NFC Championship game. They still made him inactive. I think he's going to be healthy for the Super Bowl, and I think they will rotate him in. So I took a nibble on him at 110-1 to score the first touchdown as well.
110-1.
So those are the first two, Elijah Arroyo and Hunter Henry for me. And I'm thinking about adding one more shorter priced guy. I mean, Stevenson is kind of attractive. I've seen him as high as 10-1 just because I really think the Patriots, all their touchdown equity to me are Stevenson and Henry, maybe a little bit Drake May. And like Kip, I'm really high on Jackson Smith and Jigba. His odds are just really low for touchdown score. So I ultimately went MVP with him, but he's another guy I was kind of, if I'm talking about shorter shots, my eyes kind of drifted towards him as well.
Let's talk a little NBA. I know I want to bring this up just because everyone's talking about Antetokounmpo, and of course, Flag goes for 49 last night, which was just, I mean, that kid is pretty doggone special. He's going to be something else if he's not already in the NBA. What are the chances, and what is Vegas saying about Antetokounmpo? I hate when we have trade deadlines and everyone's talking about tanking in the NBA. This is tank time, but everyone's saying the Bucks are going to do that if they get rid of him. Banged up right now, so you're trading some banged up goods. But what are you seeing on that case?
I mean, the Bucks don't even have to tank; they're already outside of the playoffs now.
Yeah,
that's what they're playing most of the year.
So I mean, they're going to say. I mean, but he probably will not see any more action.
Yeah, I think just trading him. I mean, they're going to be terrible no matter what. So I don't even think they have to go out of their way. I don't know. I've heard it both ways. I do think he'll probably be moved, but I have heard some people bring up that just. I mean, the new NBA, CBA or whatever they signed just makes trading so hard, and there's so few teams that can facilitate this that if they do wait till the offseason, it's probably going to be easier. They could probably get a bigger return. So maybe that's the route they go. I still think he'll probably get traded. It's just a question of who can pull it off. I know didn't it come out that his list of team were the Knicks, the Raptors, and the Heat? I just don't know if the Heat have the assets to make it happen. The Raptors and the Knicks probably do. So and they're both in the mix right now. So we'll see if the Knicks want to trade Karl Anthony Towns and a whole package for him. I think that's what it would take. But I think more than likely by the trade deadline he'll be in New York or Toronto.
Kip, interesting sight there in Cleveland the other night with LeBron James getting all teary-eyed after he put the basketball up for, is it his last game in Cleveland? Do you think he's done?
I mean, he's got to be on the verge. I mean, what is he, 53?
No.
I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of that footage. I of course noticed the Lakers were playing in Cleveland and wondered how that was going to go. The Cavaliers have been kind of the dominant teams, the Cavs and Thunder, have had some rough patches here in recent weeks. The Cavs look like they're kind of back to getting it together. The Thunder still has, I guess they don't know who game to game they're going to have available to play. So they've been actually scuffling, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming, but these are long seasons, and I don't know. I know in hockey, Case mentioned it Tuesday, hockey teams are playing so many back-to-backs and 3 games in 4 nights because they're just desperate to get in as many games as they can before this Olympic break to stay kind of on schedule. But it seems to me like the NBA teams play a lot of back-to-backs and 3 and 4. So I don't know in this here. I don't know if I remember the schedule being as demanding as it is right now, which I think really, continues to contribute to some teams not being able to keep a very good level of consistency.
I think you may be right. I think the Emirates Cup had a lot to do with that too. I think when they started adding that mid-season championship, it kind of finagled some things. You talk about LeBron James, he's 41 years of age. The dude's averaging 22 points a game.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, it's like, and he's talking about retiring. I don't know, man. I mean, he's still a worthy piece. He's still a starting 5 guy on any team in the National Basketball Association for me, and he still sells seats. So, I mean, maybe they don't need that in LA. But Kai, what's your thoughts on LeBron James? You think he hangs it up?
There's 9 NBA games tonight, and I would encourage all of the bettors watching this show to make sure you check the who's hurt and who's not. And I have nothing good to say about LeBron, so I'm not going to comment on that because I think he's a piece of shit. So I'll just move on from there.
Okay. All right.
LeBron's done nothing his whole career, giving money to kids, been a great philanthropist. We got guys that are, we got statues of them we're praying to. They're rapists. And I don't even get me started. Kai and I could not disagree more on the
off the court. Okay. But I will say this about any athlete. It includes him. It could be Jordan, who I think is the greatest. Anybody that calls themselves the greatest, there's a reason you have to call yourself the greatest because you're not. Period.
Muhammad Ali was.
I mean,
and he called himself the greatest. Yes, he did for quite some time. Thank you very much.
And he sure as hell didn't call himself king. But I digress. I think he does a lot of great things off the court. I think we'd be a lot better society if all these freaking athletes would play the game and stop trying to tell us if we can or can't buy seats because of our political affiliation, whatever your politics are. Not just him, whoever your politics are. Stop telling us what we should think and how we should think and who we should vote for and play the damn game you're paid millions of dollars to play.
I don't know for an interesting, guest veering back on course. I feel like he's probably done in LA. If I were him, I mean, he could still contribute. I feel like he should go back to Cleveland for one more year.
I think that'd be great.
He kind of ruined it by somehow getting him to agree to get paid less all those years. I mean, he wasn't in the top 10 NBA paid players for like a 5-year stretch, and now he always wants the max. And I think that's what makes it tough.
Yeah,
a lot of people be hard to sign him. He doesn't need it anymore. If I were him, I'd just take like a vet minimum deal and have one last year in Cleveland because
I love that. I love that.
Well, here's what I heard, Tony. I hear that he's got 5 years eligibility in college. So I hear Nate Oates has been calling.
Yeah. Where he's behind every one of his players, doggone it. He did nothing wrong. He's playing by the rules, and he's got my full support.
If he's averaging 20 in the NBA, he could probably help Alabama down the stretch here.
But if his numbers drop off, there's a good chance he's going back to Europe. Okay. Let's do some NHL. I'm going to do it for you, Kai. I know you love the NHL, and I know you got
one game tonight.
Only one game tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
and
go
it's a
over
bummer.
it. Let's analyze it. Let's break it down. Let's do it. What do you got?
It's the Blackhawks and the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Yawn in the exciting city of Columbus, Ohio. The Blue Jackets are better. The Blackhawks have gotten a lot of guys back. So I think the Blackhawks are a team to keep an eye on down the stretch because they're usually a considerable dog. But Columbus seems to be playing pretty well right now. So the Blue Jackets.
Oh, anything on that case?
I don't have anything on it. I'm trying to look frantically to see if there's anything interesting I could say. I will say it's pretty weird this time of the season. I think the Blue Jackets are still the only team that have fired their coach. Like we talk about college football and NFL teams like firing coaches. The NHL's been super fire happy for like the last 10 years. People get fired left and right. Columbus, the only team to have fired their coach. And since they fired him, I think they're like 8-1 or something.
They've been really good.
Yeah, they're insane. I still feel like they're a little too hot and they're going to come back down to earth. It's hard for me to get on the Blackhawks, so I didn't actually bet them tonight. But if you were forcing me to make a bet on this game, I'm not laying minus 150 with Columbus. I would take the plus money price on Chicago and hope. I think it's probably more like 55-45 Columbus win percentage instead of that number is a little bit more skewed in their favor because Chicago's playing a back-to-back and they got crushed last night against the Penguins or whoever they played.
That's the Penguins. Yep.
Yeah, the game before they should have beaten the Wild though. They lost in a shootout. So not something I'd bet, but if I had to make a bet, I'd probably be more inclined to take the big plus money on Chicago.
We're going to give you a little peep of what you're going to hear tomorrow on the starting lineup with Kip Kiefer right now. We got a few minutes here. I realized the Beatles did not make the initial Hall of Fame vote for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 1989. When they came up with Chuck Berry was in there. I forget who they picked, but the Beatles didn't make it to like year 3. Okay, you knew they were going to get in. I mean, it was just a foregone conclusion. And I don't know if they, when you're talking about opening up a Hall of Fame, I mean, you've got so many people that you could put in, so you can't put them all in the same. You can't put 100 guys in the first year, right? So I mean, you knew they were going to be going. But Bill Belichick not getting shape for Hall of Fame his first year, and Kip, I don't want to blow your thunder here because you did a fantastic job yesterday. You should hear his
It's all
rant,
good.
his Kip perspective. But why do you think he was
Snubbed.
snubbed? Quite frankly, snubbed. I mean, is it Jordan? Is it the fact that he sucks at college? Is it because he's a pain in the ass with reporters? What is it?
It's a combination of things. He pissed a bunch of people off in a bunch of different ways, I compared it in that little dialogue to in a Catholic school when you misbehave, the sister whacks you across the knuckles with a ruler. That's what the NFL basically has done here because in the last couple of years, the whole Jordan Hudson thing. A lot of people are disgusted by that because this is a 74-year-old man basically letting a 24-year-old girl.
Real quick, just so people know, that's nothing new. I mean, Bill has been married. I don't know if he's married now.
No,
but he had side action, man, for all those runs, man. I mean, he had young girls around him all the time.
Well, see, I don't have any knowledge of that, but he didn't have young girls around him that were, basically designing his career and insisting on being copied on all of his contract proposals and all. I mean, he's really kind of turned over management of his life to a 24-year-old who's the daughter of a fisherman from Maine. Her biggest claim to fame was she competed 3 times in the Miss Maine pageant, didn't win ever, but it's just a bizarre story. But it's not only that. The whole hullabaloo back in the offseason, which she also contributed to, that Belichick said he's barred from the Patriots complex and not welcome there and everything else. Bob Kraft and Vrabel and all them came out and said, that's absolutely ridiculous. Bill Belichick's welcome here anytime. Belichick didn't let Patriots scouts look at the North Carolina practice early in the year. And Jordan Hudson kept coming back with more and more quotes about why Bill was in the right and how the Patriots have snubbed him and all this stuff. I just think this clique that's the NFL and the voters are widespread. There's just a whole lot of things that I think they're irritated with Belichick's behavior, and they've wrongfully they're scolding him here for embarrassing himself and turning a storied NFL career into a big joke because he was desperate to get a coaching job of any kind. He begged every NFL team last year that had an opening before this North Carolina thing rolled around for that opportunity, but no team was going to hire him because he demanded 100% control of personnel. And after the last 3 years in New England, where he did not do a good job of assembling a team after Brady left, and that's another factor that you got to consider too. How many times do you hear people say, well, I guess it was Brady, it wasn't Belichick. So there's just enough, and I didn't see the total votes. I guarantee you I'm sure it was close, that I don't think it was a blowout, that it was overwhelmingly opposition to him. But those are my theories, that he's been involved in just enough things that people are humiliated by, or that people are irritated by. And so they're just kind of teaching him a lesson here. I think my conclusion yesterday says it all. It all comes down to numbers. This guy's won 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He waited 49 years for the love of his life to be born. And he is going to have to wait 1 more year to get in the Hall of Fame.
Reminds me a little bit of Kenny Stabler, how he ended up, because he rubbed so many people. He's a great guy. We all loved him. He was not a reporter guy. He planted things on reporters and stuff, and you just knew he was going to get in, but he was going to have to die first. Case, who makes it in the Hall of Fame first, Pete Rose or Bill Belichick?
Well, I actually have very strong opinions on this, shockingly. I'm usually only betting things, but today I'm getting fired up about LeBron and Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame. I think a lot of what Kip said is relevant, but I think he hit on the number one, by far, biggest point at the end. I mean, really, if you want to know whose fault this is, it's Dion's. I don't know how close you guys have looked into it, but a few years ago, Dion went on this rant about how it's so easy to get in the Hall of Fame now, and they completely changed the voting. Now you can only vote for 3 guys, and I would encourage everyone to read Vay Gregorian, one of the Hall of Fame voters' column he ran in the Las Vegas Sun, the Kansas City Star. this week. I think if this was before 2 years ago when Belichick was eligible, he would have gotten in first time easily. And some people, yeah, they want to teach him a lesson that it goes back to Spygate, but really they've accelerated the process. So all these old time guys that have been sitting around for years, they're just purging them off the ballots. So a lot of guys like Gregorian are left with the choice. They can only vote for 3. Do they wait for a year on Belichick and vote for these guys that honestly I've never even heard of, but were all pros in the 60s or whatever? Do I vote for them on their last chance, or do I go Belichick? I really think that's what swayed the votes.
That's interesting, yeah.
That's what swayed the votes to make him not make it. All that other stuff, yeah, it plays into it a little bit. There were some guys that were not going to vote for him no matter what because of Spygate, because of how bad it's been down the stretch. But I absolutely guarantee the biggest lock I will say this year, if this was 2 years ago, he would have gotten in easily. The Hall of Fame just caved too much to Dion saying it's the Hall of Very Good now. They changed all the rules, and that just made it so hard on him. I still think he'll get in probably next year now, especially.
I think that's a good bet to make now.
And I'm not excusing all the voters. I would have voted for him no matter what. Maybe that means I don't have an appreciation for history or whatever. But look at the average. A lot of these guys that are voting are way older too, that have been around forever, and they want to honor the old timers. They want to make sure these guys get in. It was just a numbers game, and he got squeezed out. I think that was a bigger factor than.
And it's old guys who have more,
damn old guys, damn old men sitting on their front porch.
I think guys like Gregorian look at it like Belichick's going to be on it. He's going to have several more chances. This is the last time I can get, I don't know, Tugboat Jones in the Hall of Fame.
Not unless
Bill was a hell of a player.
Not unless Bill has a heart attack first with something riding him on a beach somewhere when he's pushing her up off the floor.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So you're saying Bill's going to get in before Rose? You think Rose gets in next year? I got to be alive to see Pete Rose get in.
I don't think. I think there's that same resentment there where
he's been reinstated. He's good to go.
I know, but I don't think they're going to vote him in the first time. I think there's still enough, people in that ridiculous camp that is still going to hold him to this. I have a hard time. His ultimate sin, betting on baseball, a sport now who is sponsored by DraftKings. I'm sorry. That is the most the hypocritical thing I've ever seen.
You ever want to see some really good television? Go pull up Pete Rose's reality TV show.
It's good stuff.
I think it ran for like a year or two, Kip.
Yeah,
he's got this this Asian wife of his who evidently was a stripper somewhere, and it is some of the most uncomfortable. I mean, that is reality television, man. I don't know if it was left on the editing room floor or whether they just were really, really bad, because it takes a couple of years to get used to having cameras around you 24 hours a day. I get that. But it was, oh my gosh, it was some horrible TV. It was terrible.
He was a piece of work. I had a couple of encounters with him at Caesar's Palace in the later years, and there's never been a personality like Pete Rose.
Oh, the guy, man. If you want to, if you say you want to do your faithful or your freedom foursome, whatever they call it, or your fantasy foursome, Pete Rose would be my foursome. And I've told you my story about running into him in the bat cages. He was amazing. He was the greatest baseball player, bar none, that ever played the game I've ever seen. So
I met him at the Derby Lane dog track in St. Petersburg way back when. He just used to hang around in the publicity office with a good friend of mine, Jay Black. As soon as the Reds wrapped up practice, Pete was at the track every single day during spring training.
We get him and Art Schleicher together, and they'd be up all night. All right, guys, thank you so much. K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. Kai, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we hit it off? We're going to be back on Tuesday, 10 o'clock Central Time. Special thanks, of course, to the Coastal Sports Digital Network and, of course, Tony Kurre Radio getting after it. We can't believe Super Bowl 60 is right around the corner, and then it's basketball time, brother. What do you got?
Hit the website. I know we didn't talk about college basketball, which makes no sense with 180 games this weekend. You got Michigan State tonight. Also, tons of great college basketball. SEC, the lowest ranked SEC strength of schedule, totally different from football. 30th. That's the lowest ranked strength of schedule. There's a ton of college basketball this weekend. Just look it up. We'll hit a bunch of stuff on Facebook and X as well.
Yeah, I like Georgia over Texas A&M in Athens tomorrow. I think A&M's been kind of sliding by, so that's a throw out for the weekend for you.
Lucky ball.
Let's get into that on Tuesday. Let's dedicate large portions of the show some college hoops because we're getting down to only got about 10 or 12 conference games left for some of these teams, and it's time to get into some madness. So we'll get after it. Duncan, Dad, thank you so much for your help. Appreciate you. And again, go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com, and download that TKR app, Tony Curry Radio, to hear all of our stuff. Our YouTube page, of course, we do all of our shows live, and of course, you can also check out Kip Case and myself, and occasionally Kai, on the starting lineup every Saturday morning on ABC 3340 here locally in Birmingham, but you can, of course, get it on the World Wide Web as well. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you.
All right.